Hello, everyone. How's it going? Dr. Incompetent here, and I'd like to do a complete beginner's guide to Inscryption. So, this is a game that is a phenomenal card game with a huge sense of mystery. And it's going to be hard to do a guide on this because you don't want to spoil the game, but it's part of the process to learn as it unfolds. And so I'll just say up front, if you want to play Inscryption without any knowledge, then this guide is not going to work, or any guide really, because you're going to get spoiled. But if you don't mind playing along with the guide or having some information given, then this will help you tremendously to understand how to play the game. Part of the game is intentional in terms of they don't tell you everything, but at the same time, there are some things that I didn't pick up myself when I was first playing that made the game harder on myself. And I really think there's a lot of things that are difficult about the game that might prevent players from getting into it and seeing how much fun it is. So I'm going to start a brand new game. I cleared my save file so that I can start just like you will start if you've never played, and explain my thought process about the game and talk about things as they emerge. I'm not going to spoil anything into the distance. I'm going to do it naturally as it emerges and what we uncover in the game. So like if we get to a point, for example, where you've already passed that, then you can keep watching. But then if we're about to get to a place where you haven't yet been, you could stop and come back when you cover it or whatever if you want to kind of do it that way. But either way, let's dive in and see what this game has to offer. So you boot it up, and it just gives you this like odd play button. And right away, you know something is strange with the game. Something is afoot. Daniel Mullins Games from Devolver Digital, it tells us.
Okay, time to figure out what's on this thing.
Yes, it's time to figure out what's on this thing. What does that mean? All right. And what's on this thing is Inscryption. Okay? So it's a game. Let's click the button to start. All right. So from the starter menu, you can do any of these options. You can quit with the door. You can see the credits. You can adjust any options, and you can actually continue. You start with continue. This seems weird at first. It confused me because there is no save file, but this is what you actually need to play the game, and it's part of the story that you're, quote, continuing at this phase. To do any of these things, all you have to do is click on them. So, like, for example, if I click on this card, I pick it up, and then you move the mouse over this box in the middle, and it changes into orange to tell you that's what you're selecting, and then you left click to fire away. And we're loading on the 3.5-inch floppy. And we see a dark wooden table and some terrifying eyes. Another challenger. It has been ages. Okay? Perhaps you have forgotten how this game is played. I have. Allow me to remind you. All right, so we're playing a game. Play the squirrel card. So this is a card game. It's a CCG, and you have a very small deck, and it plays kind of like a deck-building roguelike in the vein of Slay the Spire in some aspects, but there are some significant rule changes to how the game works that you need to know that I will explain that aren't always clear. So when he says play a squirrel card, you can look in your hand and you can mouse over them, and you see I have a wolf, I have a stoat, and I have a squirrel. So you left click on it, and then you'll see there's a game board, and there are paw pads on all of these. These 4 paw pads on the bottom, these kind of like bear claws or whatever, these are where I can play, and the ones on the top are where the opponent can play. So I can put this squirrel card into any one of these 4 boxes. I'm just going to put it over here. Now he says, play your stoat, and you can click S on the keyboard to do this, So you can use the keyboard and the mouse, okay? You can click W again to look back down at the game board, S to go back, all right? And you can now click on the stoat to play it. And it says, stoats cost 1 blood. Sacrifices must be made. So in this game, you'll notice that I played a squirrel, and it's been put in the bottom left position. Any position will do. The squirrel has an attack power of 0, which you see in the bottom left corner, and it's by that bear claw. And it has a health of 1, where you see in the bottom right corner, there's a 1 by the heart. So the squirrel doesn't really do anything. It doesn't fight. It can just sit there. However, if we sacrifice the squirrel, we get a blood, which is part of the casting cost that is required for the stoat card that we see over on the bottom left of our screen. So you see it says stoat at the top of the card, and then there's a picture of the stoat, and then in the upper right of the picture panel, there is a drop of blood, meaning like to cast this, you need 1 blood. The squirrel is free. You don't need anything. And you notice that the mouse has changed into this like dagger icon, and then when I mouse over the squirrel, there is this symbol that is the game's symbol for sacrifice. And so I click on the squirrel, an honorable death, play the stoat. It dies, and so now we can play the stoat. And we can put it wherever we want. I'll put it right there. Now the stoat, you could see, it has a 3 toughness or health and a 1 attack power. So this is very similar, if you've played Magic the Gathering or something like that, to a card game in that sense. Now I'm going to move backward, and it says wolves require 2 sacrifices. You don't have enough. So this is true. It says 2 drops of blood. I could sacrifice the stoat, but that only gives me 1, so that's not enough to cast this. Ring the bell to end your turn and commence combat. So you see this bell has appeared to the left of the game board, and if I ring this, it's going to say I'm done with my turn. So I'll left click it. Your stoat stands unopposed. So what that means is like my stoat is going to attack the opponent. Kind of like, maybe Yu-Gi-Oh! Or perhaps the positioning matters. The lane in front of the stoat is free, which is this kind of square above. Since there's nothing here, I'm going to attack with the stoat the opponent directly. Normally, if there was a card here, it would block the stoat, but there isn't anything, so we're just going to click. The number on the bottom left is its attack power, which is 1, and we do 1 damage. And your stoat dealt 1 damage to me, and I added it to the scale. So this scale over here determines who wins the game. And we knocked out a gold tooth from this guy by hitting him in the face with our stoat. It's really odd symbolism, if that's what you want to call it. And what this means is if you look at the top portion of the scale, the right balance is for the opponent's damage and the left is for mine. So he has 1 damage, and this has ticked this indicator up on the top over to read 1 in my favor. So it's like I have 1 point, and I need to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points to win. You see these teeth on the top. Now, if he did damage to me and move this needle over to the left and put me to 5, then they would win. So we're trying to get to 5, but they counterbalance it with the damage that they deal and so on. So we're swinging the scales in our favor. You win if you tip my side all the way down. Like that. Oh, he let us win for free. Or not. My turn. Okay, so your stoat stands in the way of my coyote. My coyote dealt 2 damage to your stoat. That means your stoat's health is 2 less. So the health goes down, right? It was 3, it's now 1. If a creature's health reaches 0, it dies. It's my turn again. Now, you're going to notice a few things about what just happened, and you kind of have to observe these. The game does a great job at explaining some elements, but not all. And so what happens is you need to put these pieces together. Now, in this guide, what I'm going to do is just try to spell things out for you very clearly, so that you can make the best decisions possible to have fun and not die any more times than are necessary. Notice, for example, that he got to play that coyote, or they got to play that coyote right away, and it just dropped down and it attacked my stoat. My stoat did not retaliate. So there's a timing and a sequencing that's important to how the game unfolds, and that's going to change and develop as more functionality emerges. But just observe, we did not retaliate with our stoat, so there is no counterattack in this right now. So this is something you want to factor in. If my stoat attacks the coyote, it has 1 attack power. You see the coyote has 1 health, so the stoat would then kill the coyote and take no retaliatory damage and survive. You may draw from your deck, or you may draw a squirrel, all right, is what they're telling us. So on our turn, we have some choices. We could draw from our deck, which is this pile to the left, and we only have 1 card here. Or we could draw from this squirrel pile, which is the pile to the right with a squirrel on it and a little squirrel token right by it. Remember what squirrels do. Squirrels allow us to sacrifice to get blood. What we could do is play a wolf, okay? And you can click on this to see what it is. It says don't get ahead of yourself, right? But you can actually push. This is something that's really, they don't tell you. But if you're just like, wait a minute, what's my wolf do again? And it's like, don't get ahead of yourself. You can push S to actually pull your hand up like this, and you can look at it. So the wolf has 3 attack power, right? And it has 2 health. So I'm going to draw a squirrel because it's a guarantee. I don't know what I'm going to get here. But I do know if I get a squirrel, I could play the squirrel and then sacrifice the squirrel and my stoat to play a wolf. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to draw myself a squirrel. How dull, he says. He's like criticizing me. And that's fine. Now what we can do is just push W to look at the game board again and see what we want to do. I'm thinking about if I play the wolf where the stoat is, I can kill the coyote. I won't do any damage to the opponent, but I'll keep their board clear. Usually I like to go for board control, clearing the board. But you'll notice right away that there is a drawback, that even though I have this like ultra powerful wolf, the wolf only has 2 health, and the coyote does 2 damage. So if he has a coyote, he drops down. I'm in bad shape in the sense that I will be losing a wolf, and the coyote will not die. So I'm not sure if I want that, right? I'm going to put down the squirrel here. And I could think about what I just said and say, you know what, I don't want to play anything because I don't want my wolf to die. But usually, though, even though that might be the case, we don't know what the opponent has in their hand. And it's better to, quote, like, make them have it. Unless you know for sure and you could plan ahead, you still want to make them have something that can kill your wolf. So I'm going to then try to play my wolf. And it says the wolf demands 2 sacrifices. So we will left-click on the squirrel and left-click on the stoat. You see my sacrifice tokens building up in the bottom right? Just like that. Huh? And the stoat was upset about that. Fear not, the beast is sacrificed, but not removed from your deck. So what that means is, it's not like you're permanently destroying that card from your deck. The stoat is still part of our deck. It's just been sacrificed. Its suffering was real, but you will see it again. Now, this is just some kind of like psychological nightmare mind game that the game plays with you, and this is the creepy, mystic vibe of this game. It's got this like incredibly supernatural and dark tone to it. I'm going to drop down this wolf right here, and I'm going to push W, and I'm going to ring that bell. Boom. Because you are learning, I will pass. And hey, how about that? That means he's not putting down anything as a defense. Again, the choice. A random card from your deck or the certainty of a squirrel. And we'll take a random card from our deck, and it's a river snapper. What's a river snapper? Push S, look at it. It's a good defensive card. It takes 2 sacrifices. You see the 2 blood drops in the upper right. But it has 6 health, and it only does 1 damage. So it could stand in for a long time, but we don't need to worry about it. He's passing. We'll just ring that bell. We can't play these anyway. We don't have 2 sacrifices. Boom. And now 3 damage dealt, 3 weights on the scale. So we add 3 for a total of 4. We just need 1 more and we win. And he passes again. All we can do is draw a squirrel. We can play the squirrel like that, just left-clicking. And we could sacrifice our wolf to play a wolf, but why would we do that? Let's just ring the bell. Bam. And you've won this match. You're darn right we did. They won't all be so easy. All right, fine. Let me recall your story. Yeah, I'd like to know my story. Oh, yes. You were lost deep in the forest. So now a game board emerges, which the, game master, whoever this is that we're encountering, has unfurled. A single path revealed itself. So you see then that another portion of the game emerges, which is there is a path, and right now there's no choices because it says a single path, but this is very evocative of Slay the Spire, Darkest Dungeon 2, games where they're roguelikes and you need to make a decision, you're building a deck, and you're kind of moving through different options. This is all I can do. So I am this character right here, and the only thing I could do is move forward, so you need to click on this question mark and just move your little game piece up, and see what this is. 2 denizens of the forest approached you tentatively. So you'll flip these cards over by left-clicking. There's an adder, the caustic adder. Damage from its poison bite is always lethal, okay? Or the cat. Sacrificing the poor beast does not kill it. It's undying cat. All right, only 1 may grace your paltry deck. So remember I said it was a deck builder, which means like we started out with a deck. We know some of the cards that are in there. We seem to have 2 wolves, a stoat, and a river snapper. And then now we can add something to it. We also have our squirrels. The choice is up to you. You can do either of these, and the game is now introducing some more functionality to us, which is special abilities. Before, we were looking at what are strictly referred to as like vanilla cards. They have attack power and they have health, but they don't have any abilities. These cards do, and if you mouse over the ability, you see that the mouse changes to have a right-click function, and you can right-click, and then the bottom of the screen says Touch of Death, which is this indicated by this skull and crossbones icon, which is the poison. And the gamekeeper said, behold the rulebook. When a card bearing this sigil damages another creature, that creature perishes. So whatever the health is, it doesn't matter. This is like Death Touch in Magic the Gathering or whatever. It's poison. You're going to kill something with the adder. So that's really cool for getting through big enemies. But it's hard to summon. It's 2 sacrifices for a 1 damage, 1 health creature. It's okay, but I myself am drawn to the cat because I love the fact that you could keep sacrificing it. So it says, when a card bearing this sigil is sacrificed, it does not perish. All right, so we'll see what that means. And I'm going to take the cat myself, but you could take the adder, take whatever you want. I like the cat because it feels to me like a ramp card in Magic the Gathering, like something that would help you escalate your board position with stronger cards faster. It's like a source of sacrifice. Another creature joins your caravan. It does. All right? Some of the creatures of the forest seemed willing to follow you, and he's kind of telling, or they're kind of telling the story as you go. Remember, this game is cryptic and mysterious, and you just kind of roll with it. And we're going to click on this next icon. It's the only place we can go, which is this backpack. You came across an abandoned sack. There it is right there. You found a squirrel in a bottle. Break in case of emergency. Great. It's always funny to me how the gamekeeper has, like, props for everything. So this is a consumable item. It's like a one-use item that we can use when we choose. And it goes over here. And have a second. He gave us 2. Another useful implement. I'll allow you to tip the scales with it. Okay. This is as much as you can carry. So you can have 3 possible options. All right. Let's go to the next one. And the skull usually means a battle of some kind. You were ambushed while crossing some rough terrain. And the stoat is talking to us. Oh boy. So the stoat was like, now you may see my moves ahead of time. So now we're getting some more of how the actual game will unfold. We can see what's going to happen on their turn. So let's talk about everything that we just saw. So first of all, the stoat was getting us some story, like play along for now. Don't tell the gamekeeper that I'm talking to you. But he's giving us some lip because he's like, you sacrificed me. How could you kill me? And you feel bad about this, or at least I do. And yet he's like, it's the right play. I get it. Now, here's our consumable items over here. You can right-click on them to see what they do. Right-click on these pliers, okay? And it says, to the user, you will place a weight on the scales. The pain is temporary. Need I remind you? Your items may help. All right? And I'm just going to go ahead and right-click away to close the rulebook, which is over here. By the way, you can consult the rulebook at any time by left-clicking on it. And you can kind of glance through it. Mighty Leap, a card bearing this sigil will block an opposing creature bearing the airborne sign. So you can see there's like some information on here. There's also some like writing in what looks to be blood. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and close this by right-clicking. You are lacking sacrifices. Now, here's the deal. He's going to talk to us, but I'm going to kind of walk through. There's a lot of stuff that's just been added into the game. We start with the cat that we added, a river snapper, the stoat, and a squirrel. Now, I'm going to push up to look at this, and we can push, it's telling us to push W again, or up, and you can see these 4 boxes are new, and what this means is, like, on his turn, this wolf cub is going to come down, and it will immediately attack. So you can know where the next play is. Now, luckily for us, there are some things all over the game board. There's a stump, a tree stump here and here. These just have 3 defense. They have no attack power, so we need to chew through these if we want to be unopposed and attack the enemy. This lane is unopposed to the far right, and if the wolf club comes down, you can see that the wolf club does 1 damage and has 1 health, and it's going to hit this boulder that we have in place that we had no choice on, and it's going to be a wall basically blocking for 5 damage. But it does mean you cannot override this card. You can't put something on top of it, so it takes a space. Also, the wolf club has this sundial icon in the bottom center. Right-click on this, and it says Fledgling. A card bearing this sigil will grow into a more powerful form after 1 turn on the board. So this means that it looks like a wolf cub now, but once it's on the board, it'll grow. And back here, this does not count as being on the board. It's got to be down here in these 4 squares to be, quote, on the board. I'm going to push S or down to kind of go back to my hand. Now, I'm going to push S again, and we can just, look at my hand if I want. But here's the deal. Let me go back to these pliers. All right? I'm going to tell you what these do. This, in many ways, might not be in the spirit of the game. You might want to find out what these do on your own. If you don't want to hear what these do, just don't listen for a few moments. What these do, okay, is you will use these on yourself, and you will rip out one of your own teeth to put it on the scale as damage. And as they say, the pain is temporary. So it allows you to kind of like sneak a victory if you're only 1 away, or if you need that, but it's gruesome what you do to yourself. I was appalled, and the game loves to do that. It doesn't completely explain everything to you. It's part of this gamekeeper being not entirely honest and shifty. Alright, so what do we want to do? We can't sacrifice the rock. Or we could play the cat and then play the stoat for sure. So let's do that. I'm going to take the... the cat requires... a sacrifice, that's right. I'm going to put down the squirrel, and I'll put it right here. And then I'm going to play the cat, and I'll put it right here. Okay, and then I'm going to play my stoat. I'm going to sacrifice the cat, and I'm going to put the stoat down. Now, over here, on the empty lane. Now, here's the deal. The cat is awesome, but remember, it doesn't get removed when you sacrifice it. So that means you can't easily get rid of it. So only problem is we actually have 2 of our lanes taken up right here. So we need to be very careful about what we put down because we don't have as many options. But this is fine. I'm okay with this. And I'm just going to say, go, boom. We do a damage. Here comes the wolf cub, and see, it drops down, it immediately attacks, and then 1 turn has passed, and it says it ages swiftly. It's not doing it yet, but when we get back to their turn, it's going to go. Also on their turn, a bat is going to drop down. Now, this bat has the airborne sigil. You see the wing right here. It says it will strike an opponent directly, even if there is a creature opposing it. So that means that, like, it will go over our stoat and hit our face. The opponent is going to eventually get through this boulder and has this bat that we can't do anything about. So we need to start doing way more damage. So squirrels aren't going to cut it. I'm going to draw a card, and we're going to get one of our wolves. So this gives us the option to sacrifice the stoat and the cat to, like, play a wolf if we want. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my items. I'm going to pick up the squirrel, and then by left-clicking on it, you just put a squirrel card into your hand. I'm going to put this down, all right? And then I'm going to play my wolf by sacrificing the squirrel and the cat. And I'm going to put the wolf on the only free square I have, which is here. Now, the wolf is going to get blocked by the stump, but we'll remove the stump, and eventually it will go away so that we can start doing some damage. All right, now they have a wolf. An airborne bat flies over creatures to attack directly. So they've almost killed our boulder. My bat flew right over your stoat. It did. All right, so what are we going to do now? Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and draw, and we draw a wolf. Now, it might not look like it, but we can actually win right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this wolf, and I'm going to sacrifice my cat and the stoat. Wow, seriously, says the stoat. I'm going to put the wolf right here. Now, if memory serves, the bat will not block this wolf, and we will actually have 3 + 3 for a total of 6 damage unopposed, and will win in 1 round. So I'm going to left-click on the bell. Okay, so everything I said about the bat was wrong. We killed the bat, and we did damage to them, and now it's our turn. Now I can draw a squirrel and play a squirrel right here, and check this out. I can sacrifice my cat and my squirrel and put down the snapper right here. I don't need to do this because now we're going to win. There are some things I want to clarify. All right, so of course, I was completely wrong about the bat, but remember that the bat won't block when it's on the back arrows. Nothing blocks if it's in the upcoming part of the game board. It only blocks if it's in these squares. The flying creature can block your landborne creature, so I apologize about misremembering that, but now you can see how that plays out correctly. You might not have had to use a squirrel right there, one of your consumables, but I wanted to use it just to ensure victory, and I still have 2 left over. Last turn, I also could have just done this to pull a tooth, I suppose, but I'm going to just go ahead and ring the bell and become victorious. Bam, 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 bam. Now, look at that. What happened? You prevailed and trekked onward past the now bloodied terrain. If you do excess damage, every damage over 5 that you do to win, he puts in a little bowl, he puts those teeth, which are like money that you gain. So you really want to plan to try to win with authority, with a big push at the end. So getting the enemy to 4 if you can, and then doing overkill can net you a bunch of money. It's nice. All right, and then now we have an option to go here. I'm going to click on it. And this is giving us the choice between 2 cards. And he's not even explaining it anymore. I'm actually going to show you that in this screen you can push W to look at your deck. So this is super helpful if you're trying to choose. You can just take a look at what cards you have in your deck. And here's our deck. 2 wolves, a river snapper, a stoat, and a cat. So you can do that to look at your deck if you want. You want to keep track of the icons on the game board and what they do because they don't really explain them. So some of this game requires you to either take notes or just remember. Now we could choose between a wolf cub, which we just saw, starts out as a 1/1 but then grows, or we could have a sparrow. It's an inexpensive, if feeble, flying creature. So, of these two, I actually like having the evasion, so I'm going to choose the sparrow. And now we move into a new symbol on the game board, which is this kind of like triangle with horns and some downward lines. You stumbled into some strange stones in the mist. You were compelled to choose a worthy sacrifice, one that will be lost forever. So what this means is you click on this tile, and you need to sacrifice one forever. Like, okay, what do you want to lose forever? I don't want to lose my cat. I like it, so I will lose the new sparrow that we just got. But what happens if I do this, okay? So what happens is you're going to lose this sparrow, but if you click on this, you looked upon your menagerie and selected a healthy host. What happens is that you can sacrifice something and on the altar and then merge it with something else. So, for example, I could be like, the stoat wants us to pick it, which I don't really want to, although it is, an improvement for the stoat. But the stoat we're usually going to be sacrificing, so I'm going to put it on a wolf. Now, what will happen, again, I'm doing everything based on memory. If you're playing this game for the first time, then maybe you want to look away and experience this on your own. But if you want to know what does happen, and as my memory goes, this wolf will inherit an aspect of this sparrow, and you see it has the flying ability. So I believe what this will do is make our wolf fly. So let's go ahead and do this and see what happens. Indeed, a ghastly spectacle, but the soul of the sparrow now lives in the wolf. So it doesn't improve its attack power or its health, but now it's a flying wolf. So you can do this intentionally, and it's pretty good. Experiment, find something that works for you. You could also give something that cat's like undying power if you want. It's not a bad idea. You could put it on the stoat and then sacrifice a squirrel, play the stoat, and then keep sacrificing the stoat, but it then does damage instead, like unlike the cat, and it would be there. So, you could do that if you want. I'm going to go ahead and just go to the next square, which looks like a death skull. And oh my gosh, what is this? Behold my totem. It inscribes my canine cards with the airborne sigil. Well, we have a flying canine too. So this is a totem. We don't have this. So what's going on is you see it's all red. It's scary. He's got a flying coyote that's coming in and a flying bat over here. So this is not good for us. And we did not get our flying wolf just yet. So what do we want to do? Well, here's what we want to do. I'm going to go ahead and play my squirrel here. I'm going to play my cat here. And then I could pass, okay, which is possible. Or I could use a squirrel in the bottle, like this, and then go ahead and just drop down a wolf. Bam, bam, over here. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going to attack and do 3 damage. And I'm going to take 4 damage right back because I can't block it. So we do 3, we go +3, and then my totem has granted my coyote the power of flight. You could see with the glowing red symbol. And we now go to -1. It's not as bad as it actually seems. And I'm going to just go ahead and draw a squirrel for the certainty of it, put it right here. And I'm going to play my River Snapper, sacrifice right here. And now what's going to happen is we're going to actually, because, you know, now that I remember right through practice, we should kill both of these things. And now they are left with nothing. Now it's our turn. We have no cards in our hand, but you can look up and you can see they have a wolf cub, which will come down here and is flying. And that's a concern, but not so much. We're going to go ahead and draw our card. We got a wolf, all right? And what this allows us to do, actually, is kill them. I'll show you. We're -1. If we play this wolf, sacrifice the River Snapper, sacrifice the cat, and put the wolf right here, we should have 6 unopposed damage. And we do. Now, we don't get any extra money because it's an exact kill, but it gets us out of there. Impressive. You may yet survive this ordeal. Knock on wood. Yeah, I don't think he's rooting for us. So now we're going to start having some choices, right? So we can go up here. And we have a choice of 3 cards. So again, you could push up to see your deck. We could go with a skunk, the reviled skunk. Its stench reduces the strength of the enemy. This is a snapper, which we have, and an elk, the flighty elk. It moves after attacking. Now, this one, it has like a little mushroom by it. So, you know, if we take the one in the middle, you get a mushroom also. Now, which one do we want, though? We already have a River Snapper. You can right-click on Stinkiness, and it says, the creature opposing a card bearing the sigil loses 1 power. I don't really prioritize that very much. It's a good blocker, you know, but I'm not super excited about it. An elk is cool because it has 2 attack power, and it has 4 health, and it moves. So this means, like, at the end of my turn, it will move away. So, you know, it's hard to plan for the opponent, like, in terms of blocking, because it's going to move. You can't just, like, sit a blocker in front of this and be okay. But I'm not thrilled about the elk. I don't love the River Snapper, but I want this mushroom for some reason, just because I want to see what it does. One of the things I like to do when I played through this the first time is I just wanted everything to see what it did. So I'll take this, and we picked up that little mushroom, and now we can go to a fire, or we can go back to the altar to sacrifice. So remember, we've seen this one before, but we haven't seen this one. So let's explore and see what a fire does. You came across a small group of survivors. Faces shrunken from starvation, they huddled around a campfire. They looked upon your group of creatures and beckoned. Come, warm one of your creatures by the fire, one said. Warm it by the fire. That will enhance its power, said another. You noticed one of the survivors wiping drool from their mouth. Gross. Alright, so you could see that it says +1 to power. So if I click on this fire, I can choose any of my cards and pump it up. Now, you might not think that this is a good idea, but you get to choose where you put this. You could make your flying wolf even more deadly. You could pump up your stoat. You could, like, spread it around, make a good River Snapper. I'm actually going to put it on my cat. And so you just click the plus button, and you'll see that now the fire warmed the poor cat, enhancing its power. It's a 1-1. It's an undying 1-1. One of the survivors reached toward it. Another gnashed their teeth. Without a word, you pulled the cat away from the fire and left. Hey, don't take it. Now, it could be worth your while. I'm just saying. I'm going to tell you a lot of things as they emerge, but I'm also going to keep things mysterious, and I will say, take a close look at everything in this game. It's worth your time to just kind of inspect the game board, the pieces, the options, the dialogue. It's all very intentional and revelatory. Alright, so we've got another skull, meaning another fight of some kind. He's completely insane. You see that, right? No care for the rules. Pathetic, really. Enough. Only keeps me around to watch me suffer. So the Stoat's giving you some clues about the fact that the rules might not be enforced fairly. We have 2 trees that actually block flyers. Okay, so this Mighty Leap, remember we saw this before, it allows you to block a flyer. They have 3 toughness. And they're going to bring a grizzly bear on the left and a flyer on the right. Okay, so that's not great for us. So what do we want to do? Well, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to summon a squirrel. And I'm going to summon the Stoat, sacrifice the squirrel. I'm going to put it over here. I'm not going to put the Stoat opposing the grizzly bear because I don't want to take that much damage. I'm sorry, I don't want my... what I mean to say is I don't want my Stoat to lose. So we're going to go ahead and just click it. And this means we're going to take... oh, no. This was a mistake. We lose. Wait. Oh, no, we don't because we did 1 damage. Right. Okay. So, that worked out really badly, right? As you can see. And we need to figure this out. Like, what can we do to survive? Actually, I think I might have put us in a position where we can't win. That was a misplay. I should have just blocked this. But what I was really hoping to do was draw my cat and just leave my cat in here to block this thing. But we didn't. And so, like he said, no care for the rules. I mean, think about this. He just, on his turn, put these 2 trees in useless spaces for me and then put creatures to give himself an advantage on the right and left flanks. This is not a favorable position. Even if I would block this grizzly bear, it's going to kill what I have and in a turn or 2, and I still have to deal with the grizzly bear. And he's put down another grizzly bear. So I didn't play that first turn correctly, but this is one where it's like, wait a minute, do I have a real chance here, or are you setting me up, to fail kind of situations? So I could put this here, and I could, if I River Snapper, though, I lose. All right. I'm going to lose. You don't keep these with you when you lose. So what I can do is actually do this and put this down. And then use this to get an extra hit point. A well-earned point of damage. I didn't think you'd really do it. I did it. That's where we're at. I pulled out my own tooth. That's how bad I want to win. Okay, so I can't do anything, so I have to end. And yeah. So we can draw, and we drew something horrible, and we lose. Maybe, we could have gotten out of this, but no, we couldn't have. There really isn't anything that we could have done. So I didn't play this perfectly, but this is a situation where the gamekeeper is like, I don't like you. And we just have to end the turn. And lose. Horribly. You've lost. We have. Using this as a learning opportunity may be the only way to mitigate my disappointment. So, it is a learning opportunity. Get up. Get up from the table. Oh, he's angry. Push S. Fetch me the candlestick from atop the barrel beside the door. Okay, left click. And now you can move around. So you can use WASD to kind of shift around in this room. You can walk around square by square, turning at 90 degrees with A and D and moving forward and backward with W and S. So I can go over here, but he's telling you to go get the candlestick, and you see where it is. But you can also look around and just inspect things. Just kind of check things out. Here's a clock that you can adjust. Okay. Here's a lantern. Here's a hammer. Here's a wand. And here's an empty portrait. Okay, interesting. Here's a safe with a combination lock. Here are some game figures. Recognize these from the board. There's a door. I can't get out. What's this flashing light? where am I? What am I inside? And then here's a squirrel with a dagger. I can't take it because it's locked in place. Here's a chest that requires a key that I can't open. And here's a wolf trapped in here. Here's a globe of who knows where. And here's that candlestick right here. Wait, or is it? No, this is 1, 2, 3 candles, and I put one out. No, the candlestick is over here by the door. Pick it up. Bring it here, he says. All right. And here he is right in front of us. If you try to click on him, you can't, and you can't actually get him out of the darkness. It's really disturbing. All right? And you can put it right here where he's saying, now sit back down. And you come back around, and you sit down. Let me explain something to you. He blows that out. That was one of the 2 mistakes you can make here. If you make another, I must sacrifice you. Now, where were we? Wait a minute, what do you mean sacrifice me? Okay, so we're back here. We still have the deck that we had before, and we can proceed. But it's getting really scary now. He's going to sacrifice us? I'm not sure I'm okay with that. Actually, I know I'm not okay with that. This is the game, Inscryption. You're learning as you go. Not all of the rules are explained. I'm remembering the game from playing a few months ago and really enjoying it, and I want to explain it to you so that everything that I took away from my experience can help you enjoy the game more. You would be surprised, but even basic commands like looking at your hand, standing up from the table, these things were not clear to me, and they were made clear by commenters, and it really, really helped me get better at the game. I'm making some mistakes as I just get back into the flow of it, but this is how the game works. And if you have any questions about the game, please post those in the comments below. But what we're going to do is keep playing through this, and I'll keep explaining my thought process, and you can play along. You can make different choices, but you can understand how the game works. Because once you uncover more, once things become clear, the game just really does get better and better. So everyone, I think I'll end this first episode of the series here. This is going to be a series where I move through the game and explain more and more as we go, and try to get new players past the overwhelming difficulty curve and the mysterious and cryptic nature of the game at first. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Take care.